Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this CartoVista webinar online on raster data analysis. My name is Danny Bouchard. I'm the president and founder of CartoVista. I'm really excited to be with you here today and start this new series of targeted webinars. Today's webinar on integrating and analyzing raster grid data is part of the Applied Remote Sensing track. Going forward in the upcoming months, we'll be covering several other subjects such as geomarketing secrets or CartoVista features to get you to learn about the latest and greatest tool we've built. Today's topic deserves a special introduction. It will be no surprise to you all that satellite imagery and Earth observation data plays a big role in understanding today's world, both from an environmental and business aspect. From climate change to responding to weather events such as, for example, flooding, raster data can really add a special dimension to geographic information. As measured and quantified information, raster grid data almost always includes the notion of time series. The ability to show and analyze the evolution of this data in relationship with key assets and portfolios can make a big difference, especially when we make it available through intuitive web-based tools. To explore these new ways of interacting with raster data, I'm quite happy to have our GIS sales manager, Alexa Gertin, joining us on this webinar today. Good afternoon, Alexa.
Hi, Danny. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, great. The sun is shining, so we can't complain.
Yeah, exactly. If you could take a few minutes to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Of course. My name is Alexa, like Danny mentioned. I've worked in the GIS field for about 10 years, and I've been working with CartoVista for about 2. Today, I'm going to be taking you through CartoVista's raster analysis and interpretation online platform. And if there's one thing that I recognize throughout my career is that I never really had a web-based place where I can go upload my data, share my maps easily with beautiful design and interactive capabilities. And I can't wait to show you guys how that works today with CartoVista. You're going to see that it's simple to upload your data super fast. Within 5 minutes, you can have your map published to the web and share with your colleagues.
Nice. Before we get into this exciting presentation, I want to personally thank our attendees for joining us from all over the world. This is great. We have, as Alexa's saying, really great content to share. But before we get there, just a quick review of the agenda. The presentation will be just about 15 minutes. Alexa is going to take us through several really good raster examples. We'll also do a quick feature poll in the end and talk about what you can do if you want to enable a trial of the CartoVista software yourself. And we'll end with questions and answer, just about 5 minutes. So that should be it for the presentation. So Alexa, you can take control over the screen and show us what you've got.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
Perfect. We've got a lot of content to share today, so bear with me. We're going to be going through a lot of stuff, and we're going to go through it quickly with our 15 minutes. Right now, we're taking a look at an end product from CartoVista. This is a map of Canada where we can see our raster data along with vector data as well. They work well together. You're able to interact your vector data with your raster data, which is a great feature that I can't wait to show you guys. What we're taking a look at today is a map of precipitation in Canada. The raster is precipitation within 1 day by the hour. We've got our time series here. If I hit the play button, it will take our raster through an animation hour by hour. And you can see that it changes over time. Now, as you can see, we've also got some interactivity with the raster. As I move my mouse over the raster data, the values update, and you can see them, as well as with the legend here on the bottom corner. As I float over, you can also see the data is interactive in the legend as well as the map. As I mouse over the legend, you can also see that the map itself highlights. I'm just going to close my data table here so we can get a better view. So the highlight function from the legend is a great tool to use when you are presenting your map and you want to just highlight a specific region, perhaps a region with greater precipitation or lower, you can do so directly from your legend. We've got many tools to be able to actually interpret and analyze the data from the raster, especially with the time series. So let's take a look at what a grid profile looks like. We are able to grab an area within your raster image. Let's see here, and we'll see at the bottom corner here, at the bottom of the page, that we now have a histogram that is related to all the data pulled from that specific area in our map. Now we're looking at one specific time in our time series. If I were to, move my bar along, it will update the histogram on the fly. So our data will update, and as we change the time or date within our bar here up top. Another great feature is that we can actually see the time of a specific point as well. So I'm just going to hit the time button here and select just one point from my raster. And we can see that this one point over time has variability. This can change as we click around. We can see the different changes over time. So I'm going to take you now to our next example. And right now we are in the online portal for CartoVista. We're taking a look at where our data is resting and where we will upload our data. It's as simple as hitting the Add Data button, and you can drag and drop your files into the Dropbox here. We support the GeoTIFF format, and we're going to go take a look at a couple of layers that we're actually going to put into a map and create. So I've got my grid layer folder here, and we're going to be looking specifically at this drought index. We can see we have 4 GeoTIFFs that are included in this one instance here. If I wanted to grab information on my GeoTIFFs, you can always hit the label, and a info window will pop up on the side where you can grab some metadata information on when the layer was uploaded and who has access. You can always manage your access permissions and privacy from the online portal. Now, if I want to take a look at my specific grid analysis and the individual GeoTIFFs that I've uploaded, we've got a monthly GeoTIFF for droughts within America. The West Coast specifically. We're going to be taking a look at droughts along the West Coast and how they interact with farmland. So we can see that we've got a timestamp here. The timestamp is used for creating your time series. So you want to make sure that everything is in a chronological order for when you are actually creating your time series on the map and publishing. To set your dates and times, it's just as simple as hitting the calendar button, and you can arrange your dates and times directly from your portal. So for now, we'll get out of the portal and we'll take a look at our online software, or our desktop software that you can actually download directly from your portal right here at the bottom left-hand corner. So here we have our publisher, and it's as simple as dragging and dropping your data directly into the map. For this example, I have already created my base map, and I have another rain-fed crops vector layer that's polygon that we have in here. And I'm going to add my drought index, which is the 4 GeoTIFFs that we just saw in the portal. So here we've got it loaded. I'm going to show you guys how you can stylize and add some interactivity to the specific GeoTIFFs here. So when we open our properties table, you can manage your visibility. You also can manage your layers visibility, of opacity, and different blend modes. CartoVista has a large selection of different blend modes, which I'm going to show you examples of later when we're taking a look at some LiDAR data. In our styling, this is where we can really play around with what the GeoTIFF is going to look like. You have options to, select a mode from color to arrow. Right now, we're taking a look at colors. Arrow is a great function for if you're taking a look at, wind directions or tides and currents. You can always, if you have a direction field within your raster, you can always use the arrow to style. You can select how many different values that you want to symbolize on. We've also got a wide range of color wheels that you can select from, or you can actually customize and put in your own colors with a hex value or RGB, or you can use the color wheel. We've also got multiple different ways of rendering. Right now we are using a linear view so that the colors kind of mold together very nicely. It's a perfect design. If you wanted to have a little bit more of a, discrete and clear cut change in colors, you can always use the discrete mode. We've also got the option for shaded relief when you're working with digital elevation models. That way you get a really good texture to your raster imagery. I'm going to actually load up a style that is from a JSON file. I'll show you an example of what it looks like. So it's very simple, notepad text, and we can add in all of our colors and ranges, our min, max values. Very simple and straightforward way to add and save your palettes if you want to. So we're going to open this up and take a look. So here I've got my colors all put out, my values that are associated. It can add the labels, and you can also manage your opacity here. So I'm going to hit apply, and we'll see that update. Some other functions that we can work with from our layer properties is visibility ranges. Our visibility ranges, you can set your min max values of when you want your layer or your labels on your layer to turn on or off. You can even manage your time series here from the layer property. So right now I've got all of my months available for viewing when I upload my map to the web. I'm going to change here this active time series is what the default view is going to be. So I want the most recent view. I'm going to pick April. So we'll hit apply, and we're done with these changes. Next, I'm going to show you how it's simple it is to just add your configurations to the map so that you can have your grid profile analysis and your time toolbars. So we want to add our grid profile analysis. It's as simple as hitting add. And in our map interface tab, we want to make sure that we've got grid profile analysis and time view turned on for publishing. So now that I've got my layers in and all of my time grid analysis configurations turned on, I just need to go into my publishing options, and it'll publish directly to my web portal. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long for our maps to publish to the web, and it will automatically open directly from our publisher. Next up, once we're in the map, I'm going to show you guys how we can interact our vector data with our raster data. So here you'll get a pop-up to show you that your map is about to be added to the web. You can change your thumbnail. You can add access permissions, modification permissions to anybody on your team or users that you want to share with. So I'm just going to hit add, and we'll go ahead and take a look at our map. So now that our map's loaded, you can see that we are in April. That was our default that we set. We're going to go back to January and hit the play button. We'll see that animation take place. If I want to grab a profile and from one of our vector polygons, I can do so by going through the grid analysis tool and doing the select by polygon. And if I just hit the polygon, I'm going to get that histogram, of all of the data that is overlaid with our vector that we selected. And we can check it over time. Right now we're taking a look at March, and we can go back and we can see it updates to February, and all the data is updated as we filter through the time. Everything that you see here on the CartoVista web map here is downloadable. You can export into a PNG, SVG, and a Excel file. You can even download as an image and include your table and data. So finally, for our last example, I'm going to take you to a example of LiDAR data within our map. Now, earlier I showed you that CartoVista supports many different blend modes. This is a perfect example. We've got a very high resolution LiDAR data. And as you can see, we've got our shaded relief option turned on. And beneath that, you can see all of our base maps. We've got, you can include as many base maps as you want. Right now, we've got quite a few. You can add aerial imagery. You can add tiles, base map, or open street maps. We have here, CartoVista even has their own base maps. And when you do get CartoVista, you're actually capable of creating your own base maps if that interests you. So here is our LiDAR data. As you can see from before, when we go over the legend, it highlights within the map. Another great tool that I haven't shown you yet is actually how to grab a profile from a line. So if I were to, create a line here from across New York City, I will get that histogram of that exact line. And as I mouse over my histogram, you can see that it follows along throughout the line that I created on the map. So everything I've shown you here is, completely interactive in the map. You can interact with your raster data, make it interactive with your vector data as well. These are all great tools and functionalities for you to interpret and analyze your raster data. That was it for my presentation today. I look forward to speaking with all of you individually on your specific projects and how we can get you started with CartoVista and analyzing your raster data soon.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alexa. This is great. Great presentation on what's possible with our technology. Thanks for doing that. Go back to sharing my screen again. So now, obviously this is the time I'm going to enable a quick feature poll to get a sense of your interest and see what you're doing on the GIS side. So let me just launch the polling. We'll give you a few minutes to answer, and then I'll happily share the results. So you'll see a menu showing up with a few questions. If you would be kind enough to take a moment to answer, that'd be great. And I'll be back in a few minutes with sharing the poll results. So I guess we'll just stop the sharing and share the results with everybody. So Alexa, let's look at the results together. So it looks like we've got interest for time series analysis and animation, really.
And also the vector overlay. I think that the interaction between raster and vector is such a great tool that you don't really see often in some supported softwares.
Yes, exactly. We see as well that on the which raster data do you use the most? Digital elevation model working with DEM is a very common use. We know that in insurance, like for flooding, for so many different reasons, even within municipality, a lot of people are working with very detailed DEM, which are often acquired from LiDAR data. We know that LiDAR is around us, and LiDAR is often mixed with producing digital elevation models. So great to see that this is useful. Satellite imagery, again, we're in the remote sensing sort of like track. So it makes sense that people have an interest in doing this for sure.
Yes, no surprise there. It has been much more accessible in the recent years with so many more satellite and resources for us to be able to get imagery from. So a lot of people are using it more often than they used to.
Yeah, and I think that's in line with the answer as well that we had above regarding time series. So it is something that is of high interest from so many people. So great to see. All right, so let's talk about the possibilities of yourself being, in a situation where you can trial the software. If you haven't done so, you can actually download the CartoVista software free of charge for a trial period. There's a button right there on our website that you can just request a trial. You can fill in the form and do it. We've also put on the screen our personal contact information, personal email. So please reach out to either myself or Alexa. We are here to support you in case you have questions about your project, even if it's Raster or not. You're not quite sure how to do it, if CartoVista would apply or what you could do. Please reach out to us. It'll be a pleasure for us to do a one-on-one session and discuss your potential project. If we can help you somehow, that'd be great. All right. Next, I guess, is our questions and answer. I see that we've got some questions already that are showing up, which is great. There's a Q&A menu in your Zoom interface where you can go and type in your questions. So we'll happily take these questions on one-on-one. Either we answer live or we just answer in writing. But most of them we answer live right there on the spot. So we should be able to do that. So let's see. We've got the first question that we got, Alexa, is can you customize the download options for data, such as only allow JPEG or PNG downloads? So the answer to this is yes. Actually, within the configuration option inside the publisher that Alexa was showing, you have the capability to enable or disable pretty much any single widget in there. So you can say, I don't want people to copy data to clipboard. I would just want to remove this option from the menu. It is definitely a possibility. So there are all those options. You can fully control the user experience and what user can do in the end. I guess that answers that one. Yeah.
Our next question is, does CartoVista offer direct access to view or purchase satellite imagery, and at what resolution?
Yeah. This is a really good question. We don't quite have direct access to satellite imagery right now. You do have to do a bit of work to go get the data in GeoTIFF to bring it into our platform. But this is something that we are right now looking at and investigating as well, is can we connect to existing providers and what can we do to make that experience a little better? So, if this is something that is of interest to you, this is something that we could certainly take a look at. Something that we've been doing often is if you have an area of interest, we can set up web services that are set up to go and grab the latest satellite imagery and that are automatically updating that layer inside a CartoVista map. We have a full REST API, which gives us the ability to update data quite efficiently. So this is something that interests you. We've got that full REST API and documentation we can easily provide to go get data and get potentially a live stream of information.
Great, thank you. We also offer, help for acquiring data if you need it. If you need assistance to find data and acquire it, we're always here to help you, support you through that.
Yes. Next one is for you. Do you have a user guide to learn how to create maps step by step?
We do. Our GIS team has been hard at work at creating a knowledge base online, and you can start to finish and pretty much everything that you want to do in CartoVista, we have a how-to document on how to do it. We've got videos as well. It's all set up for you online, and I will share that knowledge base with all of you after the webinar.
Yes, very good question. Another one, what is the data size limit? So can you take a stab at that one? Why not?
Yeah, well, I guess the limit does not exist. Yeah, we can support a lot of storage, and we can always upgrade you if you need greater storage capabilities for your CartoVista. I mean, Raster does take up a lot of space, so if you do require a lot of data uploading, we can support that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the cloud hosting as well. CartoVista can be deployed either in the cloud, could be deployed on your premises as well. There's several options, but we've got customers that are using remote sensing, that are using terabytes of data, and it's been working quite well, and it scales quite well, and it's fairly inexpensive to think about storing data in the cloud nowadays. So we are leveraging that in the background. So we use Amazon, for instance, for our hosting, which is great.
Great, thank you.
Another question regarding what projection system are supported. Can you take that one?
Yeah, of course. We support a large library of projection systems. You can set that up directly from your publisher. It's very simple. There are how-to documents on how to do that, and we can always help you, guide you if you need some assistance on finding the proper projection.
Very good. It's often seen that, Word Mercator is a very common projection just to be compatible with what's out there. But, we do support pretty much anything. So, it's something that is very important to us. We care about the cartography and what you can do and the accuracy of the data.
Yes, we've created some very funky maps with different projections in the past, for sure.
Yes. Good. Great question on pricing info on our website. It's actually funny you mentioned this because we're just about to release our new website, which will have the pricing information. So you're not the first one to ask, but I can give you some insights as to the entry pricing for CartoVista. We are at essentially 3,000 US per year for the basic entry level for 3 users, and the pricing really is based on the number of users that are accessing the platform. So that's pretty much it. But soon it will be all on the website with some bells and whistles to make that easy and straightforward. Good. Another question, Sarah has some great questions. So let's see. Can the published data sync to the host desktop SharePoint folders so that it updates as the shapefile updates? That's a really interesting question. Actually, I'd say yes, the possibility is there. Again, being, we have a REST API. So that REST API can be used to harvest data or to push data to CartoVista. So it actually can happen both ways. So imagine you have set up a desktop app. That desktop app could push data to CartoVista. The same way, it could get some information about CartoVista features that are added or query data. So there is the possibility of doing a bidirectional connection with our engine, which is very useful. We've used this feature a lot to sync up with databases that are sitting locally, sometimes on a live system. It may be related to weather data or events that are happening. So it is possible to insert those things on the fly. So very, very good question. Something as well that I like to mention is we also have a software development kit. So in case there's something that is missing in CartoVista that you don't quite see, or let's say you imagine a different user experience and you want to create a custom app, it is totally possible to do that. It's not a black box. This is something that you can take and make your own. If you have a development team, all they need is JavaScript and HTML, and they can start coding and create apps with our software development kit. So it is simple. A few more questions. Does CartoVista work on cell phones? Really good question on mobility support. We do support mobile quite nicely. CartoVista was designed with HTML5, so it has very, very good support for pretty much any mobile device out there, smartphones and tablets. Great. Another one, can we have multiple raster data displayed on the map at the same time? Of course, you can take that one. That's an easy one.
Yeah, well, the answer is yes. Of course you can. You can always turn on and off your layers. You've got your layer control. You can manage what you see and what you don't see.
Yeah. So again, the benefit is you're not limited to raster data. You can start mixing raster, vector, and you've got full capability of the blend modes so that you can even have polygons and still see through the polygon in your raster and your satellite imagery. They could all come to play together in a map to create that user experience. So great questions from the audience there. This is great. Maybe another one. Can you upload a tabular data with coordinates or geocode to create maps such as Tableau? Really good question. Yes, it is possible to upload tabular data that have X and Y lat long coordinates, and it's going to automatically create a layer for you that you can then use to create a map. The geocoding is something that is coming. We are working right now on implementing that, so it'll be available soon in the platform. So, there's a lot of flexibility in the way this can be set up. So the use case for this is I have an Excel spreadsheet with my XY coordinates of all my stores. I just want to get it up and get it up and running and create a map for it. And the beauty is that's all pretty much handled right now with what we have. We will be adding more capabilities such as geocoding quickly afterwards.
Exactly. It's just as easy as when I, hit the add data button on your web portal and it's tabular, and in there you can directly just georeference and select your two XY coordinates and it's done.
Yes. All right.
Another question is, if you have an account and doing mobile app development where users use the Nmap, is there charges for their views? So are there additional charges for each view that a mapper receives?
Yeah, the beauty is there's no charge whatsoever. We don't count the number of views. We don't count, transactions. That's not how we decided to go with setting up the service. So essentially, you have an unlimited number of views. So we don't really care on the view side. So if you are doing an application that involves mobile and end users, you don't have to worry about that. Great question as well. And people seem to be keen on mobile, which is often a use case. Something related that I want to mention as well, we do have a feature that could be of interest for mobile and online editing. It's a feature that actually allow you to update and edit data online, which is often useful if you're sharing a data set and you'd like some users to have the capability to update the data on the fly. It is something that is available and is quite useful for several of our customers. And this is something we're going to keep enhancing in the next few months. All right. Well, we've got a really good participating audience here, Alexa. It looks like we got some great questions. See if we'll give you a few more minutes. If you guys have additional questions, please feel free to type them in. So we've been enhancing the platform quite a bit. I think it showed quite nicely with Alexa's presentation. We're going to keep enhancing the platform. Actually, there are new features coming in. Right now we are still building quite a few new things, and we'll be happy to start sharing more webinars in the next little while. There will be new features coming in, so we're quite excited to have those coming up. All right. So do you see, as maybe another question from Sarah, this is great. What do you see as the big differences between Tableau mapping analysis capabilities in CartoVista? This is a really good question. I guess Tableau is more on the business intelligence tools. They have created something that is nice, but is really not focusing so much on the mapping capabilities. For instance, if you want to start integrating complex polygon layers inside Tableau, it's very hard. It's limited. If you have a very simple map, let's say of the USA states or something like that, it's probably going to be okay in Tableau. But the beauty of integrating more analysis capabilities in an engine like CartoVista is that you can integrate raster data, you can interact with web services, you can do routing, you could do isochrones. There's all sorts of capabilities that you won't find in a solution like Tableau. Plus, the beauty is it's all HTML5. Let's say you want to customize it, you've got the possibility to do that. If you want to customize the maps in Tableau, this is very hard. And it's really not meant as being an authoring tool. So Tableau is really designed as being a BI tool. So, on our side, we are GIS first, but we think about the end user as well. We want to deliver a nice and simple user experience and something that is easy to use. But we have a lot more depth when it comes to the GIS capabilities. All right, another quick question. Could you point out the main differences between CartoVista and our GIS online dashboard? The main difference, I guess, there's a few things that are slightly different. In our case, when it comes to vector information, we have implemented very fast services that are really focusing on vector data, and we do vector client-side rendering. You won't find that as much in our GIS. So there are limited interactions with the map. Same goes with the raster data. I think Alexa demonstrated that we have a lot more interaction, a lot more capabilities to show data in a different way. So blend modes are all things that we do that ArcGIS really doesn't do. Now, ArcGIS can do all sorts of things in terms of their dashboarding. The great thing about CartoVista is out of the box, you do get dashboard capability and charting capability. You don't have to design those. You don't need to be a developer at all. You can just go in and do it all from a GIS angle. I don't know if there's other stuff that you are thinking of, because you've used both. Alexa, maybe you've got a few things to say here.
I have. Yes, CartoVista seems, you have much more capabilities in your design and your work, what you are able to present to people, how you can interact with your data, download, export, share. It's much more seamless and also user-friendly. A lot of people, if I were to share an ArcGIS map with who aren't really in the GIS atmosphere, have difficulty exploring and understanding, whereas CartoVista platform is very straightforward and easy to use.
Yeah, the flexibility, I guess, in building the user experience and just including the tools that you need is something that is I guess a big benefit there.
I agree.
Yeah, very good question though. We get this one quite often. People want to compare, why should I use CartoVista?
We have a lot of ex-ArcGIS users who come to CartoVista.
Yes. So a great comment and question from Daniela here. She's been using CartoVista and I like it more than ArcGIS Online. And yes, I do need to be a developer to share my maps and have my maps interactive. So
no, I do not need to be a developer.
Do not need. Yeah, there we go. So thanks a lot, Daniela, for being such a great client and willing to share with everybody your comments. This is appreciated very much.
Got one more question. Do you offer educational pricing for academic institutions? And yes, we do.
Yes, we
do. Offer up to an 80% rebate on being implemented into an educational system.
Yes. Great question. Wonderful. So hopefully, the features we just demonstrated with raster imagery will have triggered your interest. If you're not already using CartoVista, I urge you to download and give it a try, integrate your GeoTIFF data, start playing with what you can do with the time series, with the tools that Alexa has demonstrated. And if you've got questions or comments or things you'd like us to consider, please either send us an email or get in touch with us. It'll be a pleasure to see how we can help.
Yes, and we'll be releasing webinars weekly. This was just the first of our applied remote sensing series, and so you will be notified when we'll have our next one, and anything that's related to geomarketing, environmental sciences, we will cover it all.
Exactly. Good. Thank you so much for everybody. And again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you, Alexa, for joining me on this webinar today. It was great. And look forward to speaking with you. If you guys have questions, please reach out and we'll take it from there.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.